Huggy Wuggy is back and he's mad. Or is he? Chapter 4 of Poppy Playtime ended on the ultimate cliffhanger. The series mascot himself seemingly returned from the dead, but why? Prior to this, we'd been under the assumption that he was dead. He fell from an extraordinary height, and Poppy later confirmed his death herself. So how and why is he here? Well, I've actually solved exactly what you're looking for. As the simplest answer is usually the correct one, the idea that he has returned to finish what he started back in Chapter 1 would be the most logical reason. Depending on how much time has passed in the game, this could be anywhere from a few hours ago to almost a full day. Regardless, it wouldn't be surprising if he held a deep grudge against us. Going beyond this, however, there seems to be a link between us, the player, and Huggy. One of the most enduring mysteries of the series is who we play as. Some people believe we're Stella Graber, Rich Lovitz, or PW, a character introduced through the Orientation Handbook which was released shortly after Chapter 3. This has led to a solid theory that we are playing as him due to the player sharing the same birthday.
I know when your birthday is! June 28th.
Working in familiar areas such as Playcare and the game station.
But you worked here.
And a reason for us to feel haunted by our guilt. PW was a biologist in the factory. He directly participated in the experiments. That means that if we're playing as PW, we could know Huggy due to him being one of our experiments, perhaps our first. Huggy's face haunts us long after Chapter 1 finishes. Our Home Sweet Home hallucinations feature a nightmare Huggy and ends with one during Poppy's monologue. There is potential history between us, which makes the idea of Huggy wanting to kill us even more logical. There's also a chance that Huggy remembers his previous life. Back when Huggy escaped from Playtime back in 1992, he was finally found standing outside a house. While it was noted that his intentions were unclear, we see this kind of behavior in a bigger body who's very similar to Huggy, his wife, Kissy Missy. In Chapter 3, we see Kissy sitting on a bed, ignoring our presence and sadly gazing at a picture. As Huggy and Kissy were made to complement one another, it would make sense that their experiments undertook similar methods, subsequently resulting in a similar outcome. If Huggy really does remember his past, that's going to have a huge impact on his behavior. And contrary to what we're made to believe, Huggy does appear to have his own mind as proven by a Chapter 2 tape.
Experiment 1170, Huggy Wuggy, remains the optimal outcome due to his sufficient intelligence paired with maximum obedience. End of log.
Huggy possesses intelligence which differs vastly from a previous bigger body, Experiment 1166, aka Yarnaby, who appears to only have strength. He operates in the way Yarnaby should by being a loyal and caring friend to his owner, but the cognitive functions of Quinn Navidson, who was turned into Yarnaby, appear to be gone. Huggy, and by extension Kissy, are improvements from this failure, and so they can retain their previous human tendencies, which grants them agency. Even though Huggy is described as having maximum obedience, we've already shown that this was not foolproof as he turned on the Playtime staff various times. Huggy escaped from the factory for hours and, most shockingly, participated in the Hour of Joy, brutally murdering people without hesitation. This proves that Huggy was also able to obey the prototype. All of this shows us that Huggy is not only intelligent, but also has emotions and acts on them. That's why I believe the real reason Huggy has returned for Chapter 5 is to save us. Yes, that's going against common sense, but there's a reason for it. If you look at the room we are trapped in at the end of Chapter 4, there's no way out. That would mean that Chapter 5 would be very short, as would the entire story. Unless Kissy jumped down into the hole to rescue us, we're on our own. For this reason alone, it doesn't make perfect sense for Huggy to be there simply to kill us, but then, why the sudden change of heart? As we've already said, there hasn't been a significant amount of time between Chapter 1 and Chapter 4 in game hours, so why would Huggy have such a shift? We think this, once again, goes back to Huggy's intelligence and agency. Although we have no evidence on how Huggy feels towards the prototype, we do know that the prototype has his fair share of enemies.
We tried to fight it. The prototype's control. I am the last of the smiling critters.
The toys in Safe Haven seem to be genuinely concerned for Kissy, but couldn't feel any more different towards Poppy and the prototype. This shows that Kissy almost certainly is not on his side. While we also don't know who attacked Kissy, with this evidence, it makes more sense for the prototype to be her attacker, not Huggy as has been theorized. If Huggy were her attacker, there's a good chance that Kissy would have told Poppy, who then would have told us. Obviously, this did not happen. If the prototype was who ambushed Kissy, this could be the ultimate trigger for Huggy's switch of sides. If you manage to get a look at the vent in which Huggy chases us through in Chapter 1, you'll see various words and phrases. Many of them are no and stop, similar to what is said at Poppy's flower symbol on the wall, but there are also full phrases and words such as starving and this isn't my body. We don't know who exactly the author of these words is, but this lines up with it potentially being written by Huggy himself. He's starving and possibly aware that he's in the wrong body, but what's most important are the phrases, let her die, don't let her out, she's on their side, she wouldn't kill, the prototype has saved us. Whoever wrote these words hates Poppy. While this is a similar sentiment shared throughout the factory, the last line differs from what the toys in Safe Haven, for example, feel. The toys in Safe Haven despise Poppy as she left them and never returned.
You disappeared. You left us. We looked and we looked, and there was just nothing. No sign of you.
But they feel even more hatred for the prototype himself. The words in the vent, however, are mad at Poppy because she wouldn't participate in the Hour of Joy, and they're on the prototype's side. So, with all this evidence, I propose the following theory. Huggy sided with the prototype and took part in the Hour of Joy. Other toys did the same to an extent, as they all wanted the same thing, freedom. This changed, however, when the prototype refused to let the toys leave and food became low. Some, such as Kissy and Poppy, turned away from the prototype, whereas others, such as Catnap and Huggy, stayed as they were still free from the employees, and that was the main goal. If Huggy and Kissy were on opposite sides, then it would have forced them to split. That doesn't mean they would have hated each other, though. In the music video Sleep Well, we see Huggy and Kissy laying together, giving the impression that they have genuine feelings for one another. After all, it's what they're programmed to feel, and the toys can often still operate in ways their assigned toys are supposed to, regardless of their previous personality traits. This means that Huggy's state of mind is possibly more fragile than most. He's starving, he doesn't have any companionship, and the player does something which could have triggered him severely. Similar to Catnap, Huggy doesn't attack us until a specific moment. This moment was after we started the Make-A-Friend machine and created a toy. This could have sparked some trauma within Huggy, and that's why he went for us. It possibly had nothing to do with orders from the prototype, but him acting off his own emotions. He then pulls himself up in Chapter 2, leaving tufts of hair and blood in his wake. He somehow patches himself back together, continues to stalk us silently around the factory, and sees the prototype kill Catnap, almost kill Kissy, and blow up Safe Haven. It's at this point that Huggy realizes that the prototype is never going to be the savior of the toys. It's just a matter of time before he's next. That's why he has no choice but to switch sides and be our ally. For now, at least. Huggy being on our side will still be a cautious one, as he could flip at any moment, but right now we're his only option, and he's really our last hope too. It's the reason he had to return. What do you think will happen with Huggy next chapter? Let me know in the comments. Also, subscribe if you love your mom.